Yeah, we're gonna get started in just about 2 minutes. Excuse the children. You might hear the little ones in the background. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Quran on the screen when we get started with the lesson. So the Divine Constitution. So if you on the computer on the app, you can watch. You can read along. You don't have it. All right. Okay, all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Please, everybody, rise. All rise and face the east. All right, and Sister Douglas L. is going to lead us in the Moorish American prayer. Please put face the east. Put 2 fingers up on the right, on your right hand, and 5 fingers on your left hand. Just hold your hands up at a 90-degree angle.
Islam.
Okay, do a little visual real quick. Hang on. Here you go. 90-degree angle, 2 on the right, 5 on the left, face the east.
Feet at a 45-degree angle. And repeat after me. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.
Amen.
Islam Moors.
Islam Moors. All right, first and foremost, we always give the highest praise to the Most High Father, the universe, Allah. All right, we always give honors to our holy and divine prophet, Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may love and learn to love instead of hate. We always give honors to the forerunner to the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for Prophet Drew Ali. We give honors to all the sheiks, all the adepts, and all the faithful Moors that make up the grand body of the Moorish divine and national movement. All right, we give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh, who was actually appointed by Prophet Noble Drew Ali before he made the transition, and that is Brother E. Mealy Ill. We give honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh, that's Brother K. Dandridgel. And we give honors to the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And now we're going to read the Divine Constitution and bylaws. Once again, you can just look at the screen. All right, I have it up on the screen right now.
Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America. The Divine Constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man formed in the flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moore Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasions at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the law of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. The organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the law of the Constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and be a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of the household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder. Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam.
Islam. All right. Okay, thank you for that. All right, peace, everybody. All right. First and foremost, today we're gonna do chapter 7, okay, in the Holy Quran. And once again, I'll have that up on the screen. So if you don't have the Quran or you don't have it on you, you could just look at your screen. Okay. All right. And so chapter 7, the friendship of Jesus and Lamas. Jesus explains to Lamas the meaning of truth. Okay. And just before we get started, like just going into chapter 7, right? I wanted to speak real quick on the metaphysical meaning of 7 in the scripture. Okay, because everything in here has symbolic meaning. None of this stuff is just thrown in here. So there's a metaphysical meaning of 7, like when you're referring to scripture. 7 means a sense of oneness with God. It means divine impregnation. Okay, remember this. Divine impregnation, or the interval of time between impregnation of your subconscious and the resultant objective manifestation. Okay, and you're going to hear these words. Some of these words are in this chapter that we're going to read. This is also called the Sabbath, or the 7th day, but in reality has nothing to do with the days of the week. Look at the number 7. It's the two ones joined together, is symbolizing your conviction of your good. Okay, psychologically, the 7th day, or the Sabbath, follows 6 days of labor. Okay, labor, pregnancy, which simply means a sense of rest, follows your subjective acceptance of your desire. It is somewhat similar to a woman who's pregnant. She's careful and circumspect while carrying a child, and after a period of time, she gives birth. So likewise, you know you are carrying a child, which is your answered prayer within you. In due time, you will give birth to the answered prayer. Okay? 7 means hidden wisdom, rest, stillness, quiescence, or quiescence. Well, I don't know how to pronounce that. But you get the gist of it, right? 7, labor, giving birth to your manifestation, right? The impregnation in the subconscious and the resulting manifestation. So this is letting you know, like when you see that this is what chapter 7 is about, this is kind of setting the tone, okay, for what message we're gonna be taking in. And I'm gonna come right back to this, but just to kind of reiterate what we went over previously in chapter 6, okay? When we were reading chapter 6, Life and Works of Jesus in India among the Muslims, there's a royal prince, Ravana. He hears about Jesus, the Jewish boy. He wants to go and listen to him. He is enthralled, and by what he says. So he goes to Nazareth. All right. So we're reiterating on what we discussed on Holy Day. So the Prince Ravana goes to Nazareth to hear Jesus. All right. And when Islam, brother. So when he goes to Nazareth and he finds Jesus, they give us a scene like of what he sees. All right. And this is key. Like we discussed this. You probably remember what we said on Holy Day, but the importance is in the symbology. So in verse 11 in chapter 6, it says, and this is Prince Ravana, when he first saw Jesus, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands, let me put this on the screen for you so you can read along. So, and when he first saw Jesus, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands a compass, square, and an axe. Okay? So he's climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands a compass, square, and an axe. And so if you remember chapter before that, we're learning about the tools of the workshop of the mind. So you're learning the symbolic meaning of the compass, square, and the axe. You know that these are for squaring your own thoughts, for keeping your thoughts within the bounds of righteousness. The bounds of righteousness help you to manifest, to use that energy, because in going back even further in chapter 5 is also setting the tone by letting you know that this is dealing with Galilee, and Galilee is letting you know that anything from a metaphysical perspective, Galilee is always dealing with your soul energy. And so that was letting you know this chapter is going to let you know how to use your energy, how to direct that force that Allah, has within you so that you can manifest this power. And they were giving you the tools of the workshop of the mind in chapter 5. So this is letting you know how to direct that power. And then in chapter 6, we see Prince Ravana again. He sees Jesus climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he's carrying the tools of the workshop of the mind. Okay? Right? So that's powerful right there. And I'll explain why real quick, just to recap. Okay, so of course, with the number 12, right? With the anytime you see that number 12, you know that there is a metaphysical, there's a spiritual meaning behind this. 12 always refers to spiritual fulfillment, right? And we talked about how there's 12 cranial nerves in the body, in the brain, right? And so if Jesus is climbing up the 12-step ladder and he has the tools of the workshop of the mind in there, this is letting you know how to master self. Okay, this is how you master. If you're mastering the 12, the 12 cranial nerves, you're mastering the human body. You're mastering, yourself, your body. The human body is the temple of God, and he's carrying the tools of the workshop of the mind. So that's once again just reiterating on this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And so that's why that particular part was in chapter 6, and it's important, and it sets the tone also for what we're gonna talk about here, which going back to chapter 7. All right, and we're discussing how 7, from a spiritual perspective or from a metaphysical perspective. All right, the spiritual meaning of 7 is letting you know that you're going to have an impregnation of the subconscious, and then you're going to have an objective manifestation. All right, so an impregnation and a manifestation. This is letting you know. And I know Brother Cremus just came in, but we were speaking how you have the 6 days of labor and then the Sabbath, but it's not really talking about days, right? This is talking about labor, resting period, and then the manifestation, right? So this is powerful. And just in knowing that about 7, and knowing that this is chapter 7, and knowing that this is giving you the keys, the master key, right away, kind of what to expect. And this kind of sets the tone. So that was just to give everybody kind of an idea of what's going to be discussed here. And we're going to go ahead and start reading chapter 7. Okay. So let me pull this up for everybody. All right. So back to the scripture. Chapter 7, the friendship of Jesus and Lammas. Jesus explains to Lammas the meaning of truth. All right. Verse 1, among the priests of Jagannath was one who loved the Jewish boy. Lammas Brahmas was the name by which the priest was known. And Jagannath, I had this up on the screen. You may have saw it if you came in here earlier. These temples, right? This is Jagannath today, right? This is in India, and this is just letting you know this is an ancient place, the ancient Dravidian people, and there's temples all over that look like this, right? And so this is kind of just setting the tone for where this is supposed to be taking place. Hang on, I want to show you something else too. Yeah. Hang on. All right, so yeah. So this is a Hindu temple, right? And this is just like that image that you saw. This is one of the temples there dedicated to Lord Jagannath. So this is an ancient culture. And this is where the story is taking place, right? Okay. And so you still, to this day, we have festivals, there's priests there. There's a bodyguard for the temple. Okay. Just showing this. Okay, it's an ancient Hindu temple. All right, so back to the scripture. All right. Okay, so back to verse 1. Among the priests of Jagannath was one who loved the Jewish boy. Lammas Brahmas was the name by which the priest was known. One day, as Jesus and Lammas walked alone in Plaza Jagannath, Lammas said, "My Jewish master, what is truth?" And Jesus said, "Truth is the only thing that changes not." Sorry. All right. And Jesus said, "Truth is the only thing that changes not. In all the world, there are 2 things. The one is truth, the other is falsehood, and falsehood that which seems to be. Now, truth is aught and has no cause, yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is naught, and yet it is the manifest of right." Okay, and just I'm just gonna pull up the definitions, because I know we don't really use words like ought and not anymore. So ought means anything or all or everything, right? So when he's saying truth is ought, truth is everything. Okay, if you want an example of that, if you know ought, which does behold my knowledge. This is like from Shakespeare. He used it a lot. That's not a good example, but ought means everything. Okay. So he's saying truth is everything. And then not, another word we don't use a lot, it means the opposite, nothing, right? This is an example. Two jockeys' objections were for naught, and the result was left unchanged. And another one, Clevinger's strong outing went for naught, as Twins pitchers gave up just 5 hits in the game. So naught means nothing, right? So truth is everything and has no cause, and yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is nothing, and yet it is the manifest of right. Okay, and so the manifest of right means it comes out basically of truth. It comes out of things that are right, that are correct. Okay, but it's nothing. But it's going to explain even deeper on that as we go forward. Whatever has been made will be unmade. That which begins must end. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of aught, are not, and so must pass away. So as we're reading this, okay, it's saying the things we see are but reflexes, just appearing, while the ethers vibrate so and so. When conditions change, they disappear. Okay, so he's just explaining further, saying that everything that we can perceive, as far as, especially as far as the physical world is concerned, the third dimension, most of these things are not, they're nothing. They're just manifestations that come and go, right? Depending on how our thoughts vibrate. All right. It's saying all things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of aught, are not, and so must pass away. The things we see are but reflexes. They're just reflexes, which is what the whole New Age thought thing is telling you now. Everything you see out there is a mirror of what's going on in there, inside of your mind. So the things we see are but reflexes, just appearing, while the ethers vibrate so and so. And when conditions change, they disappear. So this is sounding like quantum physics, quantum mechanics, which is just a theory. This is these scientists trying to explain reality, right? So these are all theories. They'll say things move in waves. So if you look at manifestation, what is manifestation? Is the public display of emotion or feeling, right? So this is just, it's getting some meaning behind the words that are being used. Manifestation. In psychology today, it's talking about how manifestation is the real deal. There's more to this than you think, right? As far as more to, our thoughts actually affecting our reality. This is BBC talking about the strange link between the human mind and quantum physics, right? That, starting to just realize that they don't really understand how any of this works, how just their idea of how a experiment is going to come out, how that actually affects the actual experiment or whatever it is that they're trying to do. Their idea of what's going to happen actually has an effect on the outcome, right? And so they're realizing this stuff and starting to realize that they don't really know anything, okay? And so, yeah, in quantum physics or quantum mechanics, they're saying everything is made of waves, particles. And in the Holy Koran, it's saying that everything's vibrating, moving by the ethers, and that's what this reality is comprised of, okay? And so he's telling you that it's nothing, it's aught, it's falsehood, okay? It's all emanating from thought. And that's basically what this is saying. So going back to the Quran. All right. So we left off in verse 9. The things we see are but reflexes, just appearing while the ethers vibrate so and so. And when conditions change, they disappear. The holy breath is truth, is that which was and is and evermore shall be. It cannot change nor pass away. Okay, So does anybody have any questions about that? Like, what is the holy breath? I just pulled up some definitions just in case anybody wants to. Yeah, I'll just go on and show it. So, all right, holy breath. Holy breath is prana. That's one of the words, or that's like what the ancient Vedic people from India would call it, the holy breath. And since this is coming from the East, if you go to like what the ancient Indians or Dravidian people were saying, this will give you a good idea of the mind state that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was conveying, right? So the holy breath of God emerges from the oneness which it is a part of and from which it came. It emerges and enters into the corporeal substance of all things in order to enliven them, in order to bring them back to unity with the one. Okay. All right. And prana. Prana is another name for the holy breath. Prana, it says breath, considered as a life-giving force. Prana can refer to energy, life, or breath. In other traditions, it is called chi or ki, right? So anybody's ever practiced like qigong, anything like that, same thing, but coming just from like an Asian or Chinese perspective. Prana is the energy, the universal sea of energy, right? So the holy breath is not just your breath, right? Even though that's a portion of it. Prana is the universal sea of energy. This is holy breath. Universal sea of energy that influences and vitalizes all matter. This sea of energy coalesces into subatomic particles and atoms, which become the basic building blocks of all matter, manifesting the physical world. So every atom, molecule, and cell is an extension of prana, just as waves are extensions of the sea that lies beneath them. Okay? All right. And in that other page was up was quantum physics. They're talking about how everything is actually waves and particles. Okay, so everything is made up of the holy breath or prana, potentially, from if you're mixing this with that perspective. And well, if anybody's ever seen the symbol before, that's also like, that's not the holy breath, but this is also a way to tap into it, because the is like combining the sound. It's like from here it's saying the sound of the universe, but it's like comprising the sound and the holy breath. And that's just another way that people can tap into that type of energy, right? That's here. It's accessible to all of us. So
Islam, brother.
Islam.
I do want to make a comment, or maybe you can comment on it. You're talking about the vibration and we all can tap into it. Are we talking about sort of like Ella Fitzgerald using her voice to break a glass? That type of vibrational?
Islam, you know what? Really, what I was going at, because I'm just going off of like this chapter, I'm more so going towards the thought process, like tapping into, because all is mind. So going into how you can control and create your reality, like this power that was given to us, or that we have access to, as we were talking about before in a previous chapter, we were talking about how in the Holy Quran, it says that we're vice regents of Allah here. And how do we manifest that power, that force of Allah here on the earth? Through using the tools of the workshop of the mind to square off and control our own thoughts. So by controlling our own power, by controlling our own thoughts, we're also able to, because like with the holy breath, seeing it in that light, going back to that Eastern way of thought, we see that the holy breath is prana. It's just a different, it's a different language. That's how they, verbalize it. And so when you look at prana and you see it's deeper than just breath, you're breathing, even though that's a portion of it. This is, the energy, the life force, this is, it's tied into your controlling your thoughts as well.
Islam.
This is like,
got it.
It's describing everything, the waves of creation. So by tapping in in controlling your thoughts, we're able to direct this force that we have within us, Allah and man. Okay. And so,
right.
Yeah, for most of us, we don't even, even begin to know how to tap into us, and the tools are being returned so that we can do this consciously. All right.
Islam. Got it.
Peace,
Islam.
peace.
Peace.
Can I piggyback on that?
Sure.
So the holy breath is physically just a way of breathing, of consciously breathing. It's a few different ways that you can actually breathe, with your upper respiratory, your lower, or your mid. And the holy breath is completely filling each of those parts of your lung each time you breathe. That also circulates. That's the only way you get to circulate your cerebral spinal fluid throughout the body, is through like this way of conscious breathing. And this also impacts your digestion as well. Prana, the energy force behind breathing, like basically like prana is like in everything. Water, like it's like they say, like before you drink your water, you should like pour it into a cup like so many different times, like to activate the prana or something like that. I don't do that, but just sharing off some of that information.
Islam, and like what
Islam,
you were
brother.
saying with the breathing, like the pranayama, like that's with slowing down our breaths, taking 1-2 breaths a minute, by slowing your breaths down, you can increase your own vibratory rate, right? And I'm looking at this, for the most part, we're talking about controlling your thoughts, but like you said, with controlling your breaths, there's a lot to this, because like you were saying, pretty much, prana comprises almost everything, or does comprise everything, because, these are basically the building blocks of everything, excuse me, in the physical world. All right. So I'm gonna share this again though, just in case anybody still like really know what we're talking about, like with the holy breath, to give you an idea. Okay, we're equating this to prana because this is an Eastern thought, and we're trying to get in that mindset. And with prana, okay, it says it can refer to energy, life, or breath. In other traditions, it's called chi or ki, right? It's the universal sea of energy that infuses and vitalizes all matter. Universal sea of energy that infuses and vitalizes all matter. Basic building blocks of all matter manifest in the physical world. Okay, so this is what we're talking about with the holy breath. Islam. Okay. All right. So back to the Quran. All right. Verse 13. Man is the breath made flesh, so truth and falsehood are conjoined in him, and they strive, and naught goes down, which we know naught means nothing. Naught goes down, and man as truth abides. So if we're looking at this, okay, it's saying man is the breath made flesh, so truth and falsehood are conjoined in him, and they strive, and naught goes down in man. So what does that mean? Okay. Man is a thought of Allah. All right. That's the truth. That's something that cannot change. But the falsehood is the flesh, because it's temporary. It's a manifestation of the thought. And when it says after that, it says, and they strive. Okay. They strive, meaning that they having a conflict. Okay. So strive means struggle or fight vigorously, or having to make great efforts to achieve something. So they're striving. They're the actual flesh, the carnal body, and the higher self are struggling between each other. And it's saying that naught goes down, which means that what is not real and true and eternal is what is going to go down. And that is the flesh. And man as truth abides. And if you look at abides, what does abides mean is how it's used here. Abide is an intransitive verb that means to remain stable or fixed in a state of love, that abided with him in all his days, or to continue in a place. So man as truth is what's going to continue. So it's telling you that this struggle will take place, but in the end, man as truth is what is going to prevail. Okay, so we already know how this is going to go. All right, we know that the true self, the higher self, will prevail. All right, and that's what that verse means. So going on to verse 14, it says, and again, Lamas asked, what do you say of power? And Jesus said, it is a manifest. It is the result of force. It is but not. It is illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ether change. Force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent, and power is that will in manifest, directed by the breath. There's power in the winds, a power in the waves, a power in the lightning stroke, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. The ethers cause these powers to be, and the thought of Elohim, of angel, man, or other thinking things directs the force. When it has done its work, the power is no more. Okay, so he's letting you know that even man can direct this force, can direct these things, even the physical things that he's speaking of, the winds, the waves, the lightning stroke. We know that our what is our birthright? Can anybody answer that? All right. Our birthright is to be the lords of the plane of things made manifest. Okay. So we're actually to lord over all of this. All right. So our birthright is a lot bigger than what some people may think it is. You're just thinking in terms of this land that we're on or something like that. It's a lot bigger than that. Okay. So going to verse 19, again, Lamas asked of understanding, what have you to say? All right. And Jesus said, it is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the ought and of the not, of falsehood and of truth. It is the knowledge of the lower self, the sensing of the powers of man himself. Again, Lamas asked, of wisdom, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is ought, that Allah and man are one. And remember, the words ought is basically everything. Not means nothing. So it is the consciousness that man is everything, that Allah and man are one. The not is not. That power is but illusion. That earth, heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in, which in the light of ought becomes not, and Allah is all. So when you know this, when you know that heaven and hell, earth, all of these things are within us in our own mind, and Allah is all, okay, then you know you have power over. This is how you direct your power. This is how you control it, by knowing, by having this knowledge. All right. Lamas asked, pray, what is faith? And Jesus said, faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man, the certainty that man will reach the deific life, which we already know this will happen, because even in the previous verse where he's just describing the conflict that's taking place within, and he lets you know that, okay, yeah, truth and falsehood are conjoined within them, and they strive, and naught goes down, which is nothing, which is the manifestation will go down, and man as truth is what will prevail, abides. Okay, so we already know the ending. Okay, we already know what's going to happen. Salvation is a ladder reaching from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. Okay, and if we're looking at the Quran questionnaire, it says, where can we meet Allah? In the heart. Where is the heart? The heart is in our mind. Okay, all right, the heart is in our mind if we're looking at it from an Eastern standpoint. Okay, so this is key right here. All right, salvation is a ladder reaching from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. So we're thinking from an Eastern standpoint, the mind of man, the mind of Allah. It has 3 steps. All right. Salvation, when we're looking like, what does salvation mean? I could go and like get the definition of this, but just looking at this from what we're reading, knowing that this is the symbolic meaning of 7, this is telling you how to, impregnate the subconscious, and how to bring about the labor process and into manifestation. Okay, salvation means creating your reality. All right. And it has 3 steps. This is what we're told. It has 3 steps. Belief is first. And this is what man thinks perhaps is true. Has anyone ever heard of the book As a Man Thinketh? Okay, so he's telling you this. Belief is the first step. And that this is what man thinks perhaps is true. So belief is thinking, maybe, what I think is actually going to happen. It will happen. Belief. Faith is next. And this is what man knows is truth. So first is belief, thinking that you can have it, you can do whatever it is that's attempting to be accomplished. And then faith is next. That's knowing that it's going to happen. Knowing it, knowing the outcome. You already know the outcome because from a spiritual perspective, we're already, explained that, okay, faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man, and the certainty that man will reach deific life. We already know that we will prevail, as we were reading earlier. Okay, so the first step is belief, thinking that it's possible. And then the faith is the knowing that it's done. And fruition is the last. And this is man himself, the truth. Okay, so belief is lost in faith, and then fruition is lost, and man is saved when he has reached deific life, when he and Allah are one. Islam. So these are keys, and the reason why these types of lessons are given first in the Quran is because of the importance of us gaining or getting our mind right. This is why the Prophet made sure that this was in here first, in order for us to truly live up to our potential. Okay, because our potential is even greater maybe than many of us can perceive. In order for us to truly reach that, we have to get our mind right first. Okay, first is the mind, and then as you read on in the Quran, there are lessons and strategies on how to conduct ourselves. I see the hand raised. I'll get you in 1 second. There are lessons, and strategies on how to conduct ourselves in our communities. And then we're getting history, and more information. But first, it's the mind. First is the mind and the truth. The master key is given to you, knowing that Allah is within man. And then the keys on how to tap into that power. Okay. So even though even though we don't see the compass and square and those tools mentioned in here directly, we're still talking about this because he's still giving you the keys on how to, access that power. And it's all about controlling your thoughts, your mind. Okay. And Islam.
I wanted to add on to that. Actually, I had a thought where we said salvation is creating our reality. And then I thought about the holy breath and why that's important, of slowing down our breath, taking deep breaths, and actually getting connected to our heart, slowing it down enough, because like what separates man from beast, like beasts, their heart pounds way faster than us. They pant when they breathe. That makes them a beast. We are supposed to be upright, the lords of the plain. We had to slow down our vibrations to live here on the plane. But when we go to sleep at night and we dream, our breathing is deeper, our hearts are slowed down, and we could access the astral realm. the astral realm. We can do things in our dream, and that can lead to lucid dreaming and creating, like you said, our reality. So if we could tap into our holy breath, slow down our hearts, and use our minds to actually manifest love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice on one accord, we can actually, you know, gain our nobility back, you know, as Moorish Americans. Islam?
Islam.
Peace. I just
Go ahead, brother.
wanted to ask one thing. If anybody's ever,
Oh,
if anybody's familiar with the Kabbalion, that will also help with understanding a lot of these early lessons as well.
Islam, yeah, I agree. What he was just speaking on, the Kabbalion, definitely I recommend that for everyone, just for further research, to help you get into also the mindset of where the prophet was coming from. The Kabbalion is dealing with the Hermetic laws or the Hermetic information. And when anytime you see that word Hermetic, this is ancient Egyptian thought, ancient Egyptian lessons. And within there, within the Kabbalion, you have like the 7 universal laws. The first law is that all is mine, right? And this is what we're, you know, for the most part discussing right now, how all is mine. And we're also given keys or tools on how to tap into that and use that to our advantage, right? But definitely, yeah, that's a good one to get, the Kabbalion, Kybalion, to get into that mind frame of where the prophet's coming from. You read it, it tells you about the 3 adepts, okay, and they're sharing this ancient wisdom, all right? The prophet was the Egyptian adept, and he's sharing this information with us. So it all lines up. All right. Did anybody have any questions about what we were speaking on? Okay, cool. All right. So moving forward, we are going to brother Lawson L. If you could read from the Quran questionnaire.
Islam brother, Islam family, Quran questionnaire. Who made you? Allah. Who is Allah? Allah is the Father of the universe. Can we see him? No. Where's the nearest place we can meet him? In the heart, as the brother mentioned, in the mind. Who is Noble Drew Ali? He is Allah's prophet. What is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in
Islam. Okay, that brother his call must have dropped. All right, I think he was at key 6. What is a prophet? All right, so what is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. All right, and then what is the duty of a prophet? To save nations from the wrath of Allah. All right, and who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Prophet Noble Drew Ali. What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? And that's 1913 AD. All right. And then key 10, where? Newark, New Jersey. Okay. And if I can, I'm going to pause right there. Okay. And share some science on key 10. All right. Where it's saying, in reference to the Moorish Science Temple of America, where it was founded. Okay, so in 1913 AD, it was founded in Newark, New Jersey. All right, Newark, New Jersey. If you break down that word Newark, you have new and then you have ark. Newark, New Jersey. The ark is symbolic of the place where the covenant is being held. And in 1913, okay, hang on one second. Islam,
brother. Lost you
Islam.
there.
Yeah. I just started reading again, and if you could just pick back up from 9 and 10, and then just pause right there at 10.
Okay, I went all the way through. I didn't know I lost you, brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, Islam. 9. What was the year the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? 1913 AD. Where? Newark, New Jersey. Where was Noble Drew Ali born?
Okay, if
in
you
the
could
state
pause
of North
right
Carolina.
there.
Okay.
All right, if you could pause right there. So, what year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? 1913 AD.
1913.
And then where? Newark, New Jersey. If we're breaking down that word Newark, New Jersey, that's New Ark. New Ark, New Jersey. Okay, the ark is symbolic of the place where the covenant is being held. Okay, so in 1913, a new ark, which is a new covenant, was bestowed upon the hearts of man. Okay, and these are the last days and times that we're living in. We're in the days of Revelations, right? And so, if you go to Revelations, 7 verses 2 and 3, it says, "And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads." Okay, so as the prophet Noble Drew Ali teaches us on page 3 of our Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that he received these lessons from the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine, which is the East. All right, that's the angel ascending. Oh, hang on. Okay, so that's the Prophet Noble Drew Ali receiving the lessons from the Muslims of the East, India, Egypt, and Palestine. That's the angel descending from the East in Revelation 7, verse 2 and 3. And I saw another angel ascending from the East, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels. Hang on, let me pull that verse up for you real quick. And
which is Islam, Revelations what?
7, 2, and 3. I'm gonna pull it up so that you can see it on the screen. Hang on. Hang on, yeah. Believe it. Geico could save you 50% or more. All right, here we go. Okay, yeah, you could just look at the screen. Okay. So all right. All right, so okay, yeah, Revelations chapter 7, verse 2 and 3 is saying, "And I saw another angel ascending from the east." And on here it says ascending from the rising of the sun, but we know that's the east. I'm not looking at the screen. Okay, so I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the sea, the earth, and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. Okay? All right. And so if we go back to what we just were reading in the Quran questionnaire, Brother Lawson L., what did you say for number 5 and 6?
Number 5 and 6. Number 5. Who is Noble Drew Ali? He is Ali. He is Allah's prophet. 6. What is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in flesh.
All right. Okay, hang on. I'm sorry that. Let me see. There was another key I needed you to read. I thought that was it. So apologize. Okay, can you read key number 40?
40. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, 40. What is our prophet to us? He is an angel of Allah who is sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah.
Okay, so it's saying that he's an angel of Allah. All right, so and then we have it in Revelations. It's saying an angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he calls out to God to say, "Hurt not the earth or the sea," or to the angels who have been given this decree to go ahead and hurt the earth and the sea. He's telling them, "Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of God in their foreheads." All right. And so in page 3 in the Holy Quran, all right, it tells us that the prophet received these lessons from the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine. So this is the angel from the east, because those people, India, Egypt, and Palestine, are from the east. Okay. And the fezzes and the turbans represent that symbolic seal on our foreheads. All right. Because where's the nearest place where we can meet Allah? In the heart, in the mind. All right. Okay. And so this is the prophet returning, okay, returning us to our ancient ways, our divine creed and nationality, our forefathers and foremothers' names, and it's being let known to the public, and for all of us to know right here and in the now. So that is the returning, or sealing the symbolic seal on our foreheads. Okay, so moving forward, can you go ahead and pick back up at
okay. I think I was at first of all, I'll read 10 just to bring us back to the what year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? 1913 AD. Where? In Newark, New Jersey. Where was Noble Drew Ali born? In the state of North Carolina, 1886. What is his nationality? Moorish American. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are the descendants of Moroccans and born in America. For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? For the uplifting of fallen humanity.
All right, Islam. All right. So in the Quran of Mecca in Surah 3, verse 81, it states, "And when Allah made a covenant through the prophets, certainly would I have given you a book and wisdom, then an apostle comes to you verifying that which is with you. You must believe in him and you must aid him." All right. And it says, he said, "Do you affirm and accept my compact in this matter?" They said, "We do affirm." He said, "Then bear witness, and I too am the bearers of witness with you." Okay. So a compact is defined as an agreement or covenant between two or more parties. All right. Especially between governments or states. All right. So Allah made a covenant with us through our holy prophet. All right. In the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Act 6, the holy prophet enforces this compact as he defines the terms of the agreement by having the member, the citizen, agree that he is their prophet, that Allah is their God, and that they agree to be taught their nationality, their forefathers, foremothers' names, custom, culture, divine creed. All right. And so once this has been done, as the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali states in chapter 10 of the Holy Quran, verse 22 and 23. I don't have that on the screen, but when man sees Allah as one with him, all right, Allah, he needs no, when man sees Allah as one with him, as Father Allah, he needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. He goes straight up to him and says, "My Father God, Allah." And then he lays his hands in Allah's own hand. and all is well. Okay? So this is the mercy and grace of Allah, and that's the process by which you come back into your divine and national movement. So that's all you have to do is join the divine and national movement, and you're automatically a part of the you're automatically a part. That's all you have to do is join the Moorish Science Temple of America, and you're automatically included in the Moorish divine and national movement.
Islam.
All right. Did anybody have any questions about that? Okay. All right. So moving forward, I'm going to read the Prophet warns all Muslims. This is to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, find you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali. Okay, to be proclaimed at every meeting, Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon, all right, for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so that they may take charge of the situation. I have notified these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement, that will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And then last to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near. So says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that is why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors. Every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you will have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. All right. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions relating, pertaining to what was spoken of, our nationality, anything along those lines? Okay, so you could go ahead on mute now. If you guys don't have anything else to add, just want to announce, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and go into the closing of the meeting. All right. All right. So all meetings are to be. Oh, Islam, brother. Okay, yeah, I thought you had a question. So all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you would please rise and face the east, 2 fingers on the right and 5 fingers on the left. All right, and you do not have to repeat after me. Feet at a 45-degree angle and face the east. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. All right. Islam. All right. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming through. If you have questions, go ahead. Meeting's over. But yeah, if you have any questions or anything you wanted to add, go ahead. All right. Well,
Islam and honor to everybody.
Go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying by Islam and honor to everybody.
Islam.
Peace and love, brother. Islam.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
All right, everybody. Peace and love.